Hello Stan, this is Lucy Reid sending answers to the questions on the 29th of January 2025. My background, well, I was born in Cleethorpes in northeast Lincolnshire, and my dad was an art teacher, so I was lucky to be surrounded by art from a very early age. My mum and dad separated when I was about 5. And I still saw my dad regularly, which was wonderful. And my stepmother taught textiles. So stitching became a huge interest for me from a very young age. We moved to the city of Bath when I was 12, so a complete contrast to northeast Lincolnshire. And I started to be interested in fashion and then theatrical costume. And I actually trained as a theatre costume maker. I was very interested in the surface decoration of costumes, and I'd always been interested in embroidery. So my interest led me into textile art, really, via costume. My biggest influences are, from a landscape point of view, I've always looked very closely at the work of Paul Nash, Ben Nicholson, Cedric Morris, Georgia O'Keeffe, and the textile artist Jan Beanie. That was with my landscapes. With the abstract work that I'm moving more towards, John Hoyland, Mark Rothko, Sandra Blow, Sonia Delaunay and Marc Chagall have a huge influence on my work, which is what I'm focusing on right now. I'm focusing on leading my work away from a more conventional representative landscape into more abstraction. I might even move away from landscape. So I'm in a period of transition at the moment, using brighter colours and focusing on the stitch very closely. As a form of expression, stitch and colour, rather than so much representational form. In my actual landscapes came about when I started to look at textile art and to work as an artist when my daughter was growing up. So the little landscapes came about and they were popular, and I sold quite a few of those. But I feel it's a time for a change now. I'm looking back more towards my earlier work. I've been looking at work that I started doing in York on the Snickleways, which are the little alleyways and lanes of York. So I'm looking at some of my drawings, and yes, definitely in a period of transition. The biggest challenge of being an artist, I find, is, for me personally, well, not just selling the work, but from a working point of view, I find because I stitch, it takes quite a while for me to produce one piece of work, even though my work is very small, or has been very small. And I find it hard to keep a sort of flow on places like Instagram. I tend to have gaps in between my posting. So maybe that's something I need to develop more. But so I'm trying to put more of my work in progress on Instagram. That might sort of fill in the gaps in between posts. What advice would I give my younger self? I would really have said to my younger self, hang on in there with your art. There's many times I've had lulls and gaps, and I've sort of almost abandoned my art at times, and it never feels right. So it's very patchy, and it's taken me many years, which is, why I'm sort of a middle-aged person still feeling like I'm starting off in art. So I would say, don't hesitate and really focus on what you really want to do. Just do it, experiment. Don't worry about trying to sell stuff. Don't worry about putting it out initially either, showing people. Just play with work. Don't get put off by that, and even though you don't feel you have a direction, it's really important. And you can put work away and come back to it later. It often changes. I say a good 2 to 3 weeks sometimes with some pieces, and they take on a different personality after that as well. They can sort of lead to something else, or give you a clue as where you can take the work further. I do listen to music when I'm working. Not always, though. It depends. I tend not to work in silence. I can listen sometimes to podcasts, but I find that I get involved and distracted from my work. So I find music and sometimes silence, but usually music is what I do have, and it varies. You know, it can be anything from the Pixies, Placebo, Kate Bush. It varies. Yes. My best reaction that I've had for my artwork, well, a blog I follow called A Year in the Country featured my work, and I discovered this accidentally when I saw it as a post. They are musicians, and they create content with folk horror and spirit of place as one of the many themes throughout their work. And just to quote a line that I saw, it was lovely to see my work on there. And it's they actually talk about my work featuring ruins, quote, ruins, country pathways under arches of trees, snow-filled landscapes and harvests in the fields, all captured via stitching and textiles in a way that makes me think of a folk art take on 8-bit pixel representations. The relatively few stitches convey and capture a sense of spirit and place, which is great because the spirit of place is exactly what I want to capture. I'd love people to feel an intimacy with my work, like they've stepped inside a small moment that I'm attempting to share with them and that they can connect with it. I think that's really important. Yes, my work is very intimate. I like people to draw people right into a moment. So I hope people can actually get that from my work. Thank you.